Turkey arrests building contractors 6 days after quakes.
Here's a summary of the article.
Antakya, Turkey. Turkish authorities are targeting contractors allegedly linked with buildings that collapsed in the powerful February 6 earthquakes as rescuers found more survivors in the rubble Sunday, including a pregnant woman and 2 children, in the disaster that killed over 33,000 people. Turkey's construction codes meet current earthquake engineering standards, at least on paper, but they are rarely enforced, explaining why thousands of buildings toppled over or pancaked down onto the people inside. 2 contractors held responsible for the destruction of buildings in Adıyaman were arrested Sunday at Istanbul airport while trying to leave the country, the private DHA news agency and other media reported. Rescuers in Antakya, elsewhere in Hatay province, pulled a man in his late 20s or 30s from the rubble, saying he was one of 9 trapped in the building. In the town of Atareb, in opposition-run northern Aleppo province, Abdul Hasib Abdul Rahim returned Sunday to his ruined 4-story building to try to salvage any valuables but could find only blankets, pillows and some clothes. Turkey's Justice Ministry announced the establishment of earthquake crimes investigation bureaus to identify contractors and others responsible for building works. Under programs that allowed building owners to pay fines instead of bringing them up to code, the government agency responsible for enforcement acknowledged in 2019 that over half of all buildings in Turkey, accounting for some 13 million apartments, were not in compliance.
This post received a score of 10,000, with an upvote ratio of 98%. Here are the top comments in response to this article.
Hopefully they also arrest the corrupt government officials who most probably turned a blind eye.
Turned a blind eye or profited from the corruption? It's not like those $30 billion from the earthquake tax was completely taken by building contractors lol.
Right? They have a literal amnesty program for building codes. And we're about to pass more amnesty programs for even more revenue. Edit. BBC. Why did so many buildings collapse? Direct quote. In Turkey, however, the government has provided periodic, construction amnesties, effectively legal exemptions for the payment of a fee, for structures built without the required safety certificates. These have been passed since the 1960s, with the latest in 2018.
How does an amnesty program work when it isn't retroactive? So did they just create a legal mechanism for build to code or bribe the designated individual?
Exactly that. There was or is a system in place where you give the government some monetary compensation and you don't have to build to code. By doing so, everyone involved pockets got a bit fatter.
Pure lunacy. Absolute sheer idiocy.
This is how a good % of the world works. There just isn't normally events to expose it.
Except in Japan and New Zealand, most buildings didn't collapse like a house of cards because they actually cared enough to build them right.
Japan is so strict that they basically raze most buildings to the ground every time it changes ownership. Homes literally lose value the moment you buy them because it's expected that the next owner will tear it down and build a safer building using whatever the newer codes are.
Now that's progress.
We failed to enforce our regulations, leading to the deaths of at this time 28,000 people. So we'll arrest the contractors rather than take any responsibility for our actions. Turkey.
Holy shit. I had no idea the death toll was that bad. Jesus.
UN officials say it will likely double, or worse. Is this the worst disaster since the tsunami?
This is the worst since the Haiti earthquake in 2010. The official death toll is 316,000. Edit, corrected the year.
Where are you seeing that?
That's the official Haitian government death toll, but some argue it is deliberately inflated. Most independent sources say it's around 160,000.
Still an insane amount of deaths, wow.
A building contractor was detained by authorities on Friday at Istanbul airport before he could board a flight out of the country. He was the contractor of a luxury 12-story building in the historic city of Antakya, in Hatay province, the collapse of which left an untold number of dead.
This video was automatically created by Reddit to speech. The article and comments in this video were selected from Reddit according to their upvotes, and any paraphrasing was performed by smmry.com, without any human intervention.